if we want to have and take God's Torah and learn it and apply it and internalize it, so there's an idea of being prepared for that. The analogy, a beautiful analogy brought for that is, if you have the finest wine, right? I don't know what fine wine is. I grew up on Slurpees and Coca-Cola, but if you did appreciate fine wine, and you had the finest wine, which might be what, $1,000 could be bottled, I'm sure.
Good bottle of Rashi.
Okay. Well, whatever. Let's be rich. It's a fake bottle of wine, so let's make it $2,000. No one, I'm not paying for it. So you have this $2,000 bottle of wine, and you take that wonderful wine and you pour it into a disgusting, dirty, tarnished, rusty, rotten cup. What did you do to that $2,000 wine?
You ruined it.
You didn't help it, right? Maybe you gave it character, right? So you gave it character? No, you ruined it. So we are a vessel. We are vessels. And we are about to receive God's Torah in Shavuot. And if we don't prepare ourselves to take that Torah and internalize it within us, in order to express it through us and from us properly, then all we're doing is giving God's Torah a unique character. And I don't know if that's not what the world needs. It doesn't need my character, spread it. It needs us to be able to objectively internalize God's truth and express it as that truth, not to pervert it into my truth, my cult, which would be a cult of fiction. Sounds like a movie. My own truth is called being delusional. It's called lying to oneself. And if I take my truths that are wrong and spread them to the world, so then I'm not helping or building Hashem's world. I'm destroying Hashem's world. It's interesting. One way to describe mankind, humanity, I'm going to overgeneralize. I love doing that because it annoys people that hate that. So I'm going to overgeneralize. In one sentence, I'm going to define the majority of the world and what they've essentially accomplished in the past almost 6,000 years. And again, if you're some scientist, maybe 25 billion years or whatever it is. So here's what they've done. They've said, so to speak, to Hashem, Hashem, thank you for a wonderful world you created. Now, we'll take it, but can you please leave? Because the way we want to live in this world doesn't fit with what you had in mind. So you go away, and we'll enjoy your world the way we want to enjoy it. We'll pervert it and essentially steal Hashem's world from him and kick him out of it some way. It's hard how we could kick Hashem out of his world, but he created a system where we can actually do that. I'm not a heretic, at least according to most opinions. But yes, we can actually steal Hashem's world from him and send him, unfortunately, away with our negative actions. And that's what the world has done as a whole. This world is taking 6,000 years to grow up, and they're not even reached adolescence age. They're not even ready for kindergarten in this world. Imagine this beautiful picture of a cool, and I wish I was cool, I wouldn't mind looking cool, a cool 70, 80-year-old man with a ponytail. But no, obviously no hair here because he's lost it, but he's got the ponytail and earrings, and he's trying to be Brad Pitt, who's also old, relatively speaking. And he hasn't a clue what life is all about. He's an overgrown baby playing with his toys. Like the saying, he who dies with the most toys wins. You know what he wins? He wins the biggest baby alive award. That's what he wins. Back to the point, which was, if we don't work on ourselves to be worthy of and to be a proper vessel for God's Torah, all we're going to do is take that truth and pervert it. And you have that out there a lot. Okay, so it's important, like you're all saying, this is a time to prepare ourselves to receive Hashem's Torah in 50 days. Okay. Based on this, we can actually connect it with a famous teaching from one of the great sages, one of the greatest sages, certainly in the past couple of hundred years, is the Vilna Gaon, the Gra. We call him Rabbi Eliyahu from Vilna. Absolute genius. He says that Torah is compared to water. What does water do? Water makes things grow. If you have a field that you haven't prepared and properly cleaned from the weeds, and you water it, what's going to happen? Weeds are going to grow. So that's what he says, that's us. That's the idea of the preparation for Matan Torah. We have a lot inside of us. We have good inside of us, and we have bad inside of us. Where does evil come from?
Yetzer hara, like human.
He is evil. Where does he come from?
Hashem gave us the
Hashem.
ability.
The source of evil comes from Hashem. So if I have weeds in me, where did they come from? I didn't put them in me. On some level, Hashem put in me a nature that can go off track, that wants to go off track. So it's not even, we're not even blaming anybody. We're just objectively, this is the reality. I'm a human being. I am basically one step above a monkey, because the monkey is what they think was the original human being. Pretty dumb. After 6,000 years, he hasn't got much smarter. So thank God we don't agree with that nonsense. And it's interesting, just a side point, because if you believe we come from monkeys, how much respect are you going to have for your great-great-great-grandfather? He's just more of a monkey than you are. We didn't create the negativity in us. God said, I am going to take what I've made until now, and I'm going to include all of that in a new creation called a human being. And it has a level of animal. We have a level of an animal in us. We have a lot of raw potential, and it can be destructive or constructive depending on what we do with it. Okay, so the weeds that we find within us, the fact that we have issues, the fact that anyone that has issues in life, he has problems, things are hard, it doesn't mean he's a problem. It means he was given these challenges. And in many cases, they're from Hashem. Now, what you do with that is what's going to determine who and what you really are. Because it's what you take from Hashem and what you make of it is what you're responsible for. So yes, we have to recognize, if I don't do it, if I don't work on myself, and I believe that I'm just supposed to be the crazy, out of control person that I am, so then I can reach very, very bad places. And I'm describing the life story of Esav. Interestingly enough, the word Esav is Ayin Samach Vav. And if you would manipulate the word and change it from his name to an actual word, it means I'm finished, I'm done. It's the past tense of an action, la'asot and asu. So I did it, it's done. And what is essentially saying, his name is screaming this. I am what I am who I am, and this is the way I'm staying. That's 70-year-old man, that's a 70-year-old baby. That's what he's saying. If this is how Hashem made me, then this is how I'm meant to be. It was the Greek philosophy, the argument between Torah Rufus and Rabbi Akiva. Torah Rufus said to Rabbi Akiva, what's going on over here, you guys? You think you're greater? You think you're better than Hashem? You think you're smarter than Hashem? Who's greater? Hashem? What Hashem makes is greater, or what you make is greater? Rabbi Akiva, the genius, second to Moshe, I mean, at least according to Hashem, Moshe felt better. He answers back, yes, we are greater than Hashem. He's like, how could you say you're greater than Hashem? Can you make a world? No, I can't make a world. That's not what I meant. I meant in things that we can do and that Hashem does, that we think similar things that we do, Hashem and us, so we're actually greater than Hashem. And I'll prove it to you. Hashem made wheat, right? How awesome is wheat? Yeah, if I brought wheat for this brunch, how happy would all you guys be? I brought a bunch of plates of wheat. You'd throw it at him. You'd stone me with the wheat. If you could do that, you would stone me with the wheat. You wouldn't be happy with the wheat. I brought bagels, lox, and cream cheese. How happy are you?
Pretty happy.
Okay, so where did the bagels come from?
Man.
So what's greater? I'll come next week with a bunch of wheat kernels, or I'll come with bagels again. What do you prefer? So that's where Rabbi Akiva said to him. What's greater? What we do is greater. We make bread. Hashem made wheat. We make bread. What's the message? The message is Hashem made wheat, and wheat is not finished yet. It's raw potential there. It's certainly the form, the matter that we have to work with. We cannot create matter. I can't create myself, but I can recreate myself. That's the point. You understand? And what's better? The creation that God made me, or the creation I make myself into? Which is better, according to this whole approach? Don't be afraid to say it.
The one we make.
The one I make is better. Because that's how Hashem wants it. And let's look at the wheat again, and we'll see the beautiful idea. Could God not have made bread? Right, I don't want to complicate this, because according to Kabbalah and certain Midrash Chazal, he did make bread. But let's forget about that for now. Right now, we don't have bread, we have wheat. Could he not just provide us with bread? Of course he could. So what did he do? He provided us with wheat instead, which we take, and through a process of refining, rectification, we develop it and we create it into something called unbelievable bread. Okay? When we make the blessing on this bread, it has a unique blessing because it is the staple of our sustenance, and it is something amazing that Hashem made. Wheat that we turn into bread. What blessing do we say on bread? Hamotzi. Let's go through the words by word. I'm about tshuva, so we'll go through it slowly. Baruch atah Hashem, blessed are you God, Elokeinu melech haolam, our God, King of the universe, King of all worlds. I added a few words because it's really not just one world, it's many worlds. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, that brings forth bread from the earth. Bread doesn't come out of the earth, right? Isn't that correct? So the blessing is wrong. It's wrong. So the sages that came up with this blessing, they were big sages. They were the men of the great assembly. How did they get something this simple that even Aaron and I know? Bread doesn't come out of the earth, and the blessing says that God took bread out of the earth. So anybody have any ideas, any solutions to this? Yes.
The alternative would be thanking God, blessing God for giving us the wisdom to make bread, but then we're making the bracha about us. So even though technically we could say it's not coming from the ground, rather it's coming from the wisdom he instilled in us, saying that it comes from the ground removes us from all the fruits of our labor, letting us know that it's all coming from Hashem.
That's a very nice idea. That's basically, you just I have nothing more to add to this class. Thank you very much.
Maybe the idea here is that the point of wheat is to become bread. Like, it's not supposed to remain as just wheat. It's meant to be refined.
If I was half joking when I said he stole the class, you just took the class. Shkoyach. Of course Hashem could make bread. But I'll tell you a bigger chiddush. Hashem did make the bread. He did make the bread. But there are two ways to make something. There's a way to make it in actuality and a way to make it in potential. Now, what did Hashem really want when he brought wheat from the earth? He wanted bread. The ratzon, the inner will, and the real point and purpose that God created a process of planting seeds and watering it and growing it is because he knew we had nothing to do with our time and he'd keep us busy. That was supposed to be a joke. Okay, but we're in serious mode. He created a system that wheat should come out from the ground, but he knows the end result. And he wants that end result to be bread. And therefore, we have to understand, me by myself, what could I make? Could I make bread? No. I'm using God's world, God's wheat, God's earth, God's water, God's air, and the energy he puts in me, all that to make that bread. And again, Hashem could have made the bread finished. And that's what the blessing's reminding us. God not only could have made bread, he did make the bread. But in his humility and in his kindness, he said, you know what? I'm going to make the bread 10 steps before, well, maybe really 10 steps before bread. Why? To give us a chance to take that wheat and make it into bread. And make it into bread. That we could say we made the bread. But when we say we made the bread, what do I really mean? I mean we made the bread. Hashem and I make bread. And that's what Rabbi Akiva was telling Tornus Rufus, who had the Greek approach, the Roman approach, which is the Esav approach. We're not here to do anything but serve ourselves, please ourselves, and be the best animal we can be. Because God created me the way I am, this human animal that's slick, walks on 2 feet, cunning, sounds like the snake. Actually, most of us are more like the snake than a real human being. But God made the human animal, and that's enough. And that's what I am, and that's what I will be. I will come into this world an animal, and I will leave this world an animal. 70-year-old man with a couple of earrings, a ponytail, which looks a bit weird because it's very shiny on top, because he's bald. And he's got all the toys in the world, and he's still looking for his new toy. And try to pull the toy away from him, he's like crying like a baby. Sad story. But we have a different story. Rabbi Akiva says, no. Hashem left us with orla. He left us with a blemish, extra skin on our private part, orla. Everyone knows what happens to a baby when he goes to get a brit milah. It's not a secret. Why is that there? Because that's how Hashem wanted us? Yes, that's how Hashem wanted us. Because he said, I don't want to make you perfect and invite you into my perfect world. Then what are you? And what does it have to do with you, this world that I'm inviting you into? You're just a guest in my world, in my palace. He said, not making the world for you. It's your world. And it's going to come through you. And then you won't just be a guest in my palace. It'll be your palace that you build together with me. That's what Rabbi Akiva is telling him. You were created with this negativity in you, the weeds that we're trying to get rid of. It's dafka so you could get rid of them, so you could perfect yourself and this world and share it together with me, because a world perfect, I didn't need you for. I'm perfect, I could have made a world perfect, and you have nothing to do with it, and I don't need you for that. But to share a world together with you, my children, that you will be worthy to share with me, and you won't feel like a nothing, nobody loser, this is the way I made it, that you could be a winner, you could be a co-producer, a partner in the you that you create, and in the world you and I share together, and when you're done creating it. That's what it means. That Hashem takes bread out of the earth, and to come full circle, we are that bread. As the sages say, that Adam was the chalato shel olam. He was the choicest piece of the challah of Hashem, that bread of Hashem. The choicest piece. And that's what we are. And we made it. We made ourselves into that challah. Adam started off as that challah and lost it for a reason. That we should attain that level once again. And that's what all of life is all about. Okay, so now as we get back to the weeds that we're trying to get rid of, the Gra says that if we don't work on getting rid of those weeds, so when we water the field, when we water ourselves with this wisdom of Torah, which is compared to water, everything grows. We'll grow, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. But when we do the work to prepare ourselves, when we prepare that bread properly, then you have a special challah for Shabbos, and that's what we are. We are the choicest of the choicest that we are in the middle of producing right now for the Yom that will be Kulo Shabbat. It'll be a Shabbos that will never end.